Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on today's Tips from the Top. We have special guest, Lauren Rabiner. She is going to share some tips on how to be a successful, introverted cause entrepreneur. I personally am very introverted, so it's all about stepping out of your comfort zone, and Lauren is going to be sharing her tips. Go ahead and take it over, Lauren.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Lauren. If you do know me, you know that I'm also very introverted. It takes a lot for me to talk to people, which you may think, well, why the heck did she sign up for this and to do this? So I figured this would be a good kind of just quick chat to let other people know, if you're feeling the same way that I've felt in the past, that it is completely doable and you can be super successful. I wanted to start first because I thought this was interesting. Growing up, I always thought, oh, introvert, if you're introverted, it means you're shy or you're afraid to talk to people or things like that. And it isn't necessarily that case. An actual introvert is someone who gains energy from being alone and loses energy and stimulating environments, like social events. So it's really how you regain that energy that you need to keep being successful. Extroverts get their energy from being around people and things like that. So you can be a shy introvert or you can be an outgoing introvert. It's just how you regain that energy. So if you're constantly going out and doing tastings and being around people and you're an introvert, you're not taking that time to replenish yourself, and you might start to feel overwhelmed or down, or thinking maybe this isn't what I should be doing or whatever it is. And so that's where I kind of wanted to give you some ideas and tips of that. If you are shy like me, I will give you some tips on that too, because that definitely plays into it for me anyway. I found a quote that I'll start with that I thought was kind of cool. It's, if you are an introvert, it'll speak to you. But it says, introverts unite separately in our own homes. So it's not necessarily that you want to be completely alone. You do want to have people around you, just maybe not physically or all together. So basically, there's a few things that I've come up with sorry, someone is calling me. There we go. Don't know who that is. First thing first, it's your business and you should set your own goals. Don't worry about what other people are setting as their goals. They may want big, huge, audacious goals. You don't have to do that. You can really set a small goal and don't worry about what other people think about your goal. It's your business and it's what you want. And if that's where you want to start, set a small goal and go from there. Another huge tip for me is to make sure you take time to budget your energy. So if you know you have a week of back-to-back tastings and you're going to be out constantly surrounded, by other people, go ahead and schedule a yoga class or schedule that alone time where you read your book or whatever it is that you do to replenish your energy. Make sure you take the time to put that into your schedule so that you don't start to get overwhelmed. And always reach out and find other introverts to get support from them. I've found that for me, a good pacing partner might not necessarily be an extrovert. It might be someone that gets me and gets how I need to do things. We both can cheer each other on and, pace with each other, but it's not going to be the same as an extrovert who says, go out and, book 100 tastings or talk to 100 strangers, because maybe that's not what works for me. not that you shouldn't push yourself outside of your comfort zone, but it's all about finding your strengths and using them, because anybody can truly be successful, especially in this business, but it's finding your strengths. So maybe it's, instead of going out and talking to a huge group, make sure you take and make connections one at a time instead, or set up certain times during the day where you're going to, pump yourself up and say, okay, I'm going to do something that scares me. But I know I have this time to do it. And that way you don't keep putting it off, which is something I tend to do. I will, I'll say I want to do something, like I want to make phone calls, which I hate doing. But if I don't put it in my calendar, being the way that I am and being that introverted person, I won't do it. But if I put it in my calendar, then, there's a greater chance of me doing it. But know your strengths, like I said, and do that. If you're not a phone call person, don't stress over it. Find other ways to reach out. You don't have to constantly put yourself outside of your comfort zone to be successful, as long as you are making sure that, lost my train of thought, sorry. As long as you are doing what works for you, and people will start to see that and they will reach out to you and be excited about it. So as long as you're not, I kind of think of it like, if I'm going to go and try to be like a used car salesman, people know that's not me, and they're going to not respond to it. They're going to be like, what is this? Like, Lauren, why are you posting weird stuff that doesn't make any sense for you? Like, who are you? Who took over your computer? So definitely just find your strengths. And that's where it does work to have that support network, because oftentimes I am my own worst critic, and I have a good support of other cause entrepreneurs that we all chat with each other. And they're the ones that build me up all the time. They're the ones that let me know I'm doing a good job, or I'm a good mom, which for me is really big, which doesn't necessarily have to do with this, but it makes me feel good. It fills my bucket and helps me be a better person and helps me be more successful at my business. So having those people around you that remind you of your strengths. Introverts do tend to kind of be their own worst critic, and that can get in your way for sure. So find that support, and just remember that you are still the boss of you. If you need to shift your focus at any time, you can do that. You don't have to, none of us have to, do certain things that others are doing. If you need to take a step back, take a break. Like I said, go to a yoga class, go do whatever fills you up with that energy that you need. And that is honestly what has helped me. I have those moments where I'm like, okay, I'm completely overwhelmed. I've booked myself way more than I feel comfortable with. But if I take that time to re-energize, then I get right back into my business. I don't become so overwhelmed that I stop completely. One other thing too that I thought was super kind of interesting. A lot of times we do a lot of social media in our business, and as introverts, maybe certain ones overwhelm us. For example, for me, I don't understand Twitter. I've tried to understand it, and there's just too much going on and too many retweets, and I don't get it. That it works really well for other people. So pick a social media that you're comfortable with and that where your strengths will shine. Don't feel like you have to be one because people say, oh, Instagram is the way to go. If that's not your strength, don't worry about it. I personally like Facebook. That's where I have been successful. So I thought that was super interesting as I was reading all about introverted entrepreneurs, because you hear a lot about like your social media presence, and you've got to be here and you've got to be here. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. And that's pretty much kind of my gist of my whole little talk. I wanted to share with you, there are some TED Talks for introverts that have really helped me. I can share those later, but there are some that really show that some of the best leaders out there are actually introverted. So I'll be happy to post that link for that too. I also have a couple of books that I've been reading that have kind of helped me. I have this one it's backwards, but it's The Introvert Entrepreneur, and it's a great read of just kind of all of that I've said about your strengths and remembering to replenish your energy the way that works for you. And then another book that really helped me step outside of my comfort zone is The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. If you don't know Shonda Rhimes, she's the creator of Grey's Anatomy and Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. So when I saw this book, I said, that's crazy. She is super successful and does all these, famous shows. Well, she's a complete introvert, and her big thing is no. She says no all the time. So she took a year and said yes to everything that came along, and she said it completely changed her life. So I've tried to change my mindset, because I have found that for me, it's easier to say no a lot of times, because then I don't have to step outside of my comfort zone. But as I started to say yes, I realized more opportunities came my way. So, and I grew as a person. So I hope that kind of helped people that might be feeling the same way as I have. Just some tips and things like that. And I'm happy to answer any questions too.
I think those are amazing tips, Lauren. I personally am an introvert, and I always try to go from there's a quote out there. I'm not going to say it. I don't remember it completely, but it's something like, if you don't fill your own cup, you can't fill other people's cups.
Yep.
So you have to make sure you take care of yourself. And as you said, introverts need alone time to fill their cup, and extroverts need people around to fill their cup, and that's totally fine. And as you grow as an entrepreneur and a businesswoman or man, you learn what works for you, and I love that you shared those tips. Does anyone have tips that works for them, that you want to share? I think every person's going to be completely different, but if anyone has any tips or questions that they'd like to ask or share, please share them right now. Lavon, do you have anything? I see you moving your phone. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to speak. Are you muted, Lavon?
I don't think she is.
I don't see a way to. We can't hear you though. Oh, pretty picture. Oh, shoot. Well, we have that chat box too. But I think these are amazing tips. I love those books. I think maybe once I post the recording, you can comment with those links to the TED Talks. I think those would be great to share as well, just so people can see them and view them as they'd like. But I think this was amazing. Lavon, any luck? No? Shoot, I'm sorry. Go ahead and share them on the comment when I post the recording. That was great. And I think today's call was amazing. It spoke to my heart completely, because super introvert over here. And I think the one thing to take away for sure is to set goals that are attainable for you. Don't, just because you see other people calling out goals that are so amazing and they're awesome for them. That, you know, they could probably hit them. Like, do goals that will push you. I'm always a big, you know, grow your business 10% every month. When you look back at the year mark, you're going to see a huge growth, but like, don't overwhelm yourself, especially as an introvert. Make goals that you want to hit that mean a lot to you, because that's how you're going to hit them. If they mean a lot to you, you're going to step out of your comfort zone a little bit to get there. But if you create too big of goals, you get set back, you get frustrated, then you take a break from the business, and we just don't want that. We want you to continue to grow with the business.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, perfect. If no one has any additional tips or questions for us, then we're going to go ahead and end today's call. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Okay, bye, Sabrina.
Bye.
Thank you.